Okay, all right. We are here. My name is Ryan Rose with Philly Soccer Page. This is Nick Fishman.
How's it going?
Also with Philly Soccer Page. So the Union finished out their season. Not the best season, but a good game for the Union. 6-1. They finished their season 11-14-9.
Yeah, it's identical to last year, so not a lot of improvement. Back to step back as everybody else kind of surpassed them this year. Not a lot of good things to take away this year, but what's one of the things that you would look forward to for 2018?
One of the things I would look forward to for 2018, hopefully the organization will change a few things up, and I'm just looking forward to seeing exactly how they do that. Let's get your thoughts on this game, though, first. What'd you take away from this game?
Well, you had three different players get a brace. Elsinho, Pico, Sapong. Great thing for Sapong is setting that season record with the 16th goal, surpassing that tie he was in with Sebastian Letou. It's bittersweet. It's a great way to go out, but it's just it's another case of what you can do at home, you need to be able to do away as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously 6-1 at home last game of the season, you can't beat that. At the same time, though, does it really mean that much at the end of the season against one of the two worst teams than you in the East?
Yeah.
And that's with Kaká and Larin, who are both obviously not with the team tonight.
Yeah.
That being said, not trying to take anything away from the team. They did great.
No, yeah, Orlando was starting the goalkeeper. Edwards was in his first career start in MLS. They had their right midfielder was in his first start as well. So it's not like they were kind of going all out in this game either. But
exactly. A couple chances that were capitalized on by the Union. A couple mistakes, rather, that were capitalized on by the Union. And I think they gave the Union a lot of space, but
definitely underestimated Pico's speed a few times tonight.
Definitely, but props to the Union for taking advantage of all that. That's great. So let's talk about CJ a little bit. What do you think of his performance tonight, and is that a good indication, do you think, of his performance the entire season?
He's one of the things you can count on as being a dependable part of the lineup every week. The problem with CJ is that when you ask him to defend and not getting those great scoring chances, those dangerous scoring areas, you're asking him to come back and you don't have that person that can distribute behind him. So tonight you get a performance from Pico, you get a great performance from Elsinho, so that helps him get forward and get into those dangerous areas and score goals. So I think he's an answer, like a reliable, dependable answer at that lone forward spot. You just have to get the support behind him.
Yeah, definitely, and they obviously got the support behind him tonight and then himself a brace, and like you said earlier, breaking that record.
Yes.
So
personal milestones are important as much as we like to downplay.
Absolutely, personal and team milestones, right? So the other big story of the night tonight was Brian Carroll's send-off. Brian Carroll, longtime captain of the Union, longtime player in MLS, national team player. This was his last career game. What'd you make of that tonight?
It was nice to see a sincere moment like that. It was that tribute, the video tribute before the match. It was pretty moving to see Sebastian Letou pay his respects. You saw Olsen down in D.C., a few other familiar faces on the way out, but I think Shane Williams was in there too. And it was just kind of,
yeah.
It was nice to hear the fans get a chance to address him, and then Carroll have the chance to also say his goodbyes to the fans as well.
For those of you who weren't at the match tonight, which was a lot, they had a tribute video for Brian Carroll beforehand, which was quite good. And so Brian Carroll comes on at the half. Now I thought he was going to maybe come on in like the 88th minute as a sub, just to give him a good send off, exactly. But Jim Curtin puts him on at the half, and how'd you think he did?
He did his job. He's a guy that's just a dependable veteran presence. His whole career he's done the hard work, and he did it tonight. There wasn't a lot to ask of him tonight. It was more of just a farewell game. Almost it felt like, especially in the second half, both teams were kind of just going through the motions of finishing out the last 45 minutes. So it was a fun time, and it was good to see him go out there. He took a hard challenge too, and got up from that. Yeah, so
yeah,
he was definitely involved in the game. But yeah,
great. Okay, so Brian Carroll obviously will not be back next season. Looking forward to next season, who else don't you think might be back? I know Ernie and Jim have both alluded to switching things up on the roster a little bit, and they'll have some opportunities to do that. Who do you think we might see? Who might we not see next year?
Well, I'll start with the center back, Aguchi Onyewu. He's he's the veteran there, and they have a lot of young talent at the center back position. So from a roster standpoint, he's a great guy to have in the locker room, but it might not make sense if it's blocking Trusty, if it's blocking Yarrow, if it's blocking Elliott from getting the minutes in the 2018 season. Another one is Chris Pontius. He's a free agent. You don't have a ton of production this year. Last year you did have those 13 goals, I think it was. But
Sure. 12, I think.
12 goals,
12 or
yeah.
13, yeah.
From the wing position, you need to have offensive contributions, and assists can only go so far if you're not knocking in goals as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with Chris Pontius. You know, he's been great for the team. He was great last year. He's an all-time MLSer in my book. But at something like $400,000 in salary, which
You can probably
won't
find
get
a better use of
obviously
that money somewhere else.
Right. They'll be freeing that up as he's a free agent this upcoming offseason, and I don't imagine that they would sign him.
I guess you have the two big names of Elsinho and Alberg as well.
Yes. So that's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
So Ilsinho, obviously great game tonight, also with the brace. But again, he makes quite a pretty penny for the team, and it could free up a lot of space. And Alberg's interesting as well because there's been a lot of speculation that he doesn't want to be here. He wants to be in Europe, and just the other day, we saw him say he'd very much like to be here. He wants to stay in the area, and he loves it.
I think both guys genuinely want to be in this city playing for the Union. They've both kind of accepted that their roles are what they are. Alberg, I think, obviously wants more goals so he can more minutes so he can get more goals. Ilsinho's still adjusting to that number 10. I mean, you're asking a veteran in soccer to play a role he's never played before. And it's the same thing with both of those guys, inconsistency. You see flashes like tonight, like you did from Ilsinho, and it just doesn't translate where for this 2 goals and 1 assist tonight, a beautiful game, he'll have another two games where he doesn't make any contribution going forward. So we're in a tough spot as the Union are in a tough spot covering going forward, but
they're definitely in a tough spot. Obviously not the ideal end to the season. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of young players they bring up next season. Hopefully we'll see quite a few, but that's to be determined. That wraps it up for us this season. Thank you to all of our watchers, to all of our listeners, to all of our readers from the Philly Soccer page. Thank you very much.
to 2018.
To 2018.